So, good morning, guys. Let me know if my screen gets. Yo. So, good morning, guys. Let me know when my screen is visible and I'm audible. Uh, Great. So, what I wanted to do today was go through a couple of setups and go through my watch list. And generally, on a weekend, I do this every day, but on weekend it becomes a little larger watch list. And I also therefore wanted to discuss what are the stocks which could do well if we have a bounce. Okay, and in the meantime also discuss what I think is the situation of the general breadth and how things could unfold from here. And if a rally comes, that rally definitely would be tradable for short-term traders. So the opportunities which could arrive, I just want to discuss and also share like why is I think uh, those things will happen. Okay, so let's dive right into it. All right, where is it? Here. So these names, there is no sort of priority that these are the ones. I have a bunch of them in general, but yeah, like the ones which I really like, those will be on the top. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start from the bottom and then go up. So I will also quickly let you know like a little bit about how I scan. I basically scan relative strength every day, and I also scan volume shockers every day. So this list would be a bit of both. 99% would come from the list of relatively strong stocks, and yeah, that's the bread and butter list of mine. Okay, so SEGL. I don't know what kind of liquidity and other this guy is, but the setup looks really good. So uh, this is a prior uptrend, and then this is currently the right side of the base. This is what they call a cheat pivot, and the volume profile also looks good. Volume is negligent here, and now the first what's the word, pocket pivot arrives in the base. So this looks like at a good point. Goldium has been a one of the strongest names in the market. It did not know about the correction here, and so generally, it's for me it's difficult to sort of trade this very small consolidations, but I think this could be tradable in case there is a breakout above this three uh, tight closes. Um, Sundaram Clayton is another good setup, and you can see why it's a good setup. There is a prior uptrend, and then we are basing, and this is 2T. Sometimes the T's are not visible, in which case if you go to a 25-minute time frame, it will be visible here. And if you see, it's from OEM, the auto OEM parts, and I believe there are a lot of names from this space which are showing a lot of strength in the screening. So okay, so Dhani does not look such a great setup here. Why I'm saying that is because this is a prior high, and then it again came back to the same high. So same low. So had it been somewhere here, it would look like better. But since this has come till the previous low after making a higher high, therefore it doesn't look so great. But you can see that this area is actually a long term is at a long term level. If I go to a daily bar, you'll see that there is a huge gap there, and so it's a normal thing for price to do that now. Albeit this gap was created like 4 years ago, excuse me, 3 years ago, But still, and then when it came back, right now the level where it is in, it is the lower gap boundary of the previous high. So I think this still is a good place from where a bounce can be played in Dhani, um, and it's also at a previous this one. So the finding the setups are often the most easier thing. What is not easy is to ascertain. Most people, the second easier thing, is n- something which is not as easy as finding the setup is to find something called as a setup trigger, and that's where most people fail, because unless and until you don't have a trigger, then you get stuck in the thought like, अच्छा अभी घुसना है या नहीं घुसना है, क्या करना है, ये अच्छा setup है कि नहीं. So all those things should uh, already be thought of and decided prior, and you just wait for the trigger. So the trigger in this case would be whenever the stock is price is moving above 91.2, and then you pull the trigger. Okay, so BDL is a different kind of setup. It's uh, not the ones which generally as swing traders like. But the observation I made during the scanning is that a lot of PSUs, defense, railways, they are sort of making a reversal basis. Now, whenever you see a base, there are three parts to a base. Okay, and this is very important because a lot of people actually think that this is uh, मेरे को जो दिख रहा है ऐसा हो रहा है. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Like this is not a gray area. This is either it's building the right. I mean, there is some sort of yes or no thing to it. Okay, so BDL is a base now, right? So this is high, this is low, and the left side of the base is complete. The left side is most the treacherous part, and then you get uh, base of the base. मतलब base का भी bottom, and then what you get is the right side of the base. So most people should be interested in the right side of the base. Excuse me, I'm just hold on. So this part would be the yo yeah. So this part would be the right side of the base, and BDL currently is trying to form a right side of the base. So what we had is we had lower highs and lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. This was the point when it made a higher low, a higher high. Okay, and the swing high, then it came here, and then the swing low here. The both of them are now uh, start of a fresh trend, because we now have a higher high and we also have a higher low. Okay, so the probability of the whole BDL downtrend now going up and an uptrend starting is really high now. Okay, so this now having said that, what happens is when a base right side of the base is being built, the moves can be slower. So how long does it take for the price to reach towards the previous high level? This often can be a very slow process, and that is why I say that this kind of setup is not very good for traders, because swing traders will need quick moves. Rather, this kind of setup is for someone who is a positional player who can sit through the base building setup, and then eventually when the breakout comes, right? So be be very clear about who you are, what is your time frame. Okay, Innova CapTab. Now there is a setup here, and there are only, I mean, especially for swing traders, there are two candlesticks you need to look closely whenever you are hunting for a setup that is immediately attackable, right? So Innova CapTab has both. One is this candle, which is like it has a tail. Whenever there's a tail, which is a demand candle at around previous support, that increases the probability that the reversal, upside reversal, could come. And then if it has an inside bar, this is a tandem inside bar. There are actually two inside bars, and this shows a volatility contraction. So there's a setup here, uh, and then the trigger to enter would be when the IB breaks to the upside. Okay. Um, yeah. So these are very simple uh, techniques to enter. Some people guard these techniques as if these are like, I don't know what, but these are very simple techniques. Okay, this is one way to trade IB. And so if you
What about that MA? Can you also plot the MA?
uh, can you repeat the question again?
Hello?
Hi, can you repeat the
Can you
question?
hear me? Hello?
Yes, Anil, can you repeat the question again, please?
That MA. Can you plot the MA also so that we
Oh,
can't?
okay. Yeah. So the MA right now is at 50 DMA. And you can see that it has a character of bouncing, undercutting 50 and then bouncing from there. So here, second, here, and this is actually a very a good support. Okay. Oil and gas is also a big reversal. So I'm just putting all of them here just to also, talk to you guys about what are different kind of setups are available, and not everyone will enter at the same place, right? The South India Bank. Now this is a very good base. Okay, this is a very very good base, and earnings are also near. 21st is the earnings, and this is exactly how the start of the right side of the base looks like. Sometimes I fuck up right and left, but you guys understand, So this is the right side of the base. So downtrend, 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 downtrend. Now we are on an uptrend, the start of an uptrend, because we now have a higher high, higher low, higher higher low, and there is contraction, and there could be a up move here. And the observation after like going through the top 200 sort of relative strength names is that there are so many the small banks which are forming similar kind of setup. Okay, so there could be something in here. Laurus Lab. Now there is a setup here again very similar to Innova CapTab and the other Dhani which I showed, which is uptrend and then again coming back and finding support at previous support level. And it also has the two candles which I talk about. One lower wick demand candle and inside bars. And having these candles makes your life very easier because you have a clear cut लेवल जिसके ऊपर आपको घुसना है ना. Some people like to enter inside early, which is fine as long as they can also have the discipline to put a stop loss. But many people don't. They enter early thinking that मेरे को छोटा वाला stop loss मिलेगा, I got a better price, and then when the price actually doesn't go up and breaks down, they still hold it. So if you are like that, if you have that tendency, please don't do that. Wait for it to break out. So Laurus Lab is there is a setup here. Actually, I just realized that I have to मेरे को थोड़ा जल्दी बोलना है. तो I will go through the list faster. Okay, so Adani Power is right now there is no setup as such, but again this is a big base, and there are, and in general the Adani names they have very sort of choppy price action, but they will also move very fast whenever they move, and it looks to me like there is like a double bottom kind of a base happening, and then above this area that would be a reversal base breakout, right? So that's why this is in the list. DV slab is a very good a small flat base. uh, I mean, this is your one horizontal line setup or whatever you want to call it, Darvas box, किसी भी नाम से बुला लो, है ना? It doesn't matter. Now let's come to where one can enter. Now, the more legacy, not legacy, traditional entry point is above this high. But if you have some sort of bullish bias that Davis Lab is going to do well, then one can also use this pivot which is inside the base, or even the inside bar, which the inside bar which formed on last Friday. Above that, I can also be a an early entry, right? Kiri Industries was a very good setup somewhere here and here. Market conditions happened, and currently it's at a real. It's giving you a very nice entry point, which is above this three inside bar. Now, like I said, inside bar, prior demand candle. These are the two things which should move you closer to a setup that is actionable. Okay, I'm only talking to you about actionable stuff here in this session today on very low volumes. These 2 days are like lowest volume in the last quarter. AB Money, very small stock, but also a very fast mover. It is right now near the prior base breakout level. So I'm watching it closely. And this would be an area, a pivot, above which it can be bought. Now, PGEL, why is this in the list? I'll tell you why. A lot of EMS names are at a place which I call Hai Himmat zone, right? Now, Hai Himmat zone is nothing but a, a support level. So if you draw the support from here, you'll find that this could be a possible support, and then this would look like a ascending channel. The price is moving inside an ascending channel. Like this is how uptrending stocks move. They move inside a channel, and whenever the price is at the lower end of the channel, you buy. So that's a setup which is called ascending channel reversal, ACR. Very simple, buying the support. Okay, and sometimes, especially me, I don't trade. I mean, the last 2 years of bull run, I mostly traded breakouts. That's why it's hard for me to buy something here. But this year, possibly, I'm trying to make this small changes in my entry system. Now, not only PGEL, if you see the other names in EMS, maybe we will encounter them in the list, and also some other names are setting up like this. Okay, now the question then becomes, so what is the entry trigger? Many a times the entry trigger would be on this candle, you know because that is the PVC. After coming back to the support, it basically went up. So that would have been the entry, and it did not work immediately but can work. Okay. PTC Industries is in the list because it is a very strong stock. Prior uptrend is very nice with huge volumes. Best thing for us would be if this basing uh, happens slightly longer, there would be some VCP criteria. So currently, I don't see anything yet, although a breakout of this level can be traded, but that would probably, from this looking at a daily candle, not give you a smaller stop loss. So you would have to go into a 25-minute time frame. Now, K FinTech, this is also at a level which I call, like I said, Hai Himmat level, right? Now, what you have to do is you have to zoom out and see there is some sort of a trend line here, and this guy is possibly trying to come near that. Okay. Also, KFIN is from a group which has been really strong in the last year. When markets are iffy, the names from this group, which is CAMS, BSE, CDSL, MCX, they are one of the strongest ones. So any strong trend sectoral move will not fizzle out very quickly, right? Borosol Renewable is, in my opinion, an A plus setup. Now, many people will not give much importance here because they will see, oh, 5% circuit. But I believe that this has been one of the biggest, what's the word, biases I have created in my mind. And see, this is a great setup, right? If you look at this on a weekly time frame, what you see is a very big base, and the right side of the base is being built now uh, things are above the key, above what is the AV WABs, you know. So this is a really good setup. And whenever this consolidation gets fired up above, uh, that is the setup. And currently what's happening is there's a prior uptrend, there is first T, and this is the second T. This is also a classic VCP. Okay, this is the second T. Whenever this guy breaks out, uh, on hindsight, this would have been a good entry, you know. Um, so Gokul Agro is also a good setup. I would only enter above this slanting, this one. Okay, it looks like a double bottom here. Now decal looks very ugly right now, but if you see this level is also a previous uh, sort of a level where it was breaking out. Now when things break out and move so fast, then it is bound to come and retest an area. One thing is for sure, that decal has some good backing because of the volumes here. Okay, so this could be a level where a very good reversal level, low risk. Okay, excuse me because my nose is half blocked. Something has happened since 2 days, so excuse my this. Zentek. Zentek is something which I hold, and I bought it on this day. Gave back a couple of gains, and then I entered on this day. No, not entered, but doubled my position on this day. Okay. So this is now forming a tighter area. There is no setup as such yet, but if this tight area reverses back, there will be an entry there. 50 DMA bounce is this. Now this is MA squeeze, ऊपर से squeeze, नीचे से squeeze, and then whichever side the price breaks out, and hopefully it breaks out on the upside. Um, Kaplan point, very similar. This was a big base breakout. I mean, like medium big base breakout. Very nice breakout. Very similar to the Zentek example, and then went up, and then is now at a area of the previous high. Wait for these things to give PVC entries. Okay, so this is also a setup. Met Plus not so much. It was a good flag here, but there was no demand. Couldn't break out. Um, Not so great. E2E. Now this is something which I really like. The one bias I have, or because biases are something which you cannot delete using one button, one action. Okay, that's why they are biases. And the first thing to uh, recover, or get rid of the bias, is to first accept that you have that bias, right? So E2 is a stock, and the bias I have is this, right? Itna chad gaya hai aur kitna chadega. So this bias has stopped me from making a lot of money in the past, and E2 is currently also has that bias, but this base, if this base breaks out, and then if the price makes a high which is higher than the previous high, which then tells us that, hey, the reversal is started, um, there is no reason to not trade this, right? uh, yeah, this is again big base, right here the base is forming Optimus. MBAPL is in the list because this is the right side of the huge base, and also this has been a earnings. There was an earnings trigger here. So one of these days was earnings, and earnings were good. Okay, I think on this day, and you can see that huge. There's a huge demand, huge volumes, and if you see, this is the right side of the huge base, and the thing is this: if these guys break out, the probability of a move which is like this is actually is actually there. I mean, I'm not saying that ये 22,000 तक जाएगा, but the thing is, you get the point, right? A bigger move, the probability of a bigger move always increases when the price gets out of a bigger base. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, but and the worst thing is whenever that breakout is happening at that time, it is very difficult to fathom that itna bada move aa sakta hai. Like a case in point is PSU banks. CNX PSU bank. This was the big base breakout. This one. This one. The fact that a move something like this would come when the breakout is happening, it's very difficult to imagine. है ना? But आएगा. The same thing also happened in PSE. This was a big base. I'm just giving you this example to just put context on a lot of things. This was a big base breakout. Huge base. Right side of the base formation. VCP breakout. Now at that time, I did this. Oh, there's a probability itna आएगा. आ गया. At that time, it doesn't look like it. Okay. Very similarly, MBAPL also is a very big base. Now the quality of the base is not so great in this case, but I'm just giving you an example. You have to be able to visualize. Taril not so great currently. Indraprasth, big base breakout, came back, retested, went up, some supply here, but now it's again finding support at the previous breakout area, and these are low risk areas. Okay. Ashok Sharabi, ASOC alcohol. I mean, the fact that it is still maintaining its price at around the all-time highs is the testament of the fact that the stock is strong, but currently slightly fuzzy for me. Huh? Bliss GVS Pharma, very similar. Um Currently at the previous support and getting tight. So find your triggers. All right. Ajanta Pharma, I like this, and I like this because this is not so the depth of the base is not so large, so that it's not अगर ये ज़्यादा लंबा नीचे हो जाता तो swing traders, in my opinion, swing traders should stay away from those setup. But the base depth is not so higher, and if this guy takes out this area, then perhaps there isn't much what is this called, supply. So this is also a good, in my opinion, a good setup. And the candles which you should look for are also present, both of them. Demand candle, small bars, so above those bars is your entry. I mean, can this and can that. I like this still. Gave back about 30-40% of the previous gain, so that's fine as long as it's above 50, and now getting tighter. Now I know a lot of you will not be able to trade this because it's 5%, but hopefully I have enough evidence gathered this year by trading these 5% names to change first my bias, and then that might also help some of you. Kanye. Hmm. This is another name from EMS. And what did I say? A lot of EMS names are in the zone, which is that guy, no, that guy from All Is Well wala movie, Hai Himmat. This is the Hai Himmat zone, right? Like this is at a support, you know. So things at support is very difficult to buy for me at least, and that's why I call this Hai Himmat zone. And you will find other names from EMS also at Hai Himmat zone. Ashiana Housing, I like this very tight, this one after this huge bar. So I think there was some news here. Ashiana Housing fiscal Q3 sale increase YOY. Okay, that happened on this day. And after that, tuck, 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 three fall, and then now again getting better. So not a traditional setup, but swing players can make money in this 20% move. Credit excess Grameen. Now, this is also what I said when I said small banks, reversals, um, not a swing setup. Although not a swing setup because this base is very this is possibly a, a fresh base starting, and I like the picture of it, right? High volume bars, positive price action with high volume, positive. Although this could be there is some distribution at the top, and so you know that this is the level now, right? This is the level where there is supply, and you also know that this is the level where the bulls are coming. Now, इसके अंदर में जो भी है, it generally shouldn't matter as long as the price is now forming higher highs, making tighter VCP like structures, and when this guy breaks out, you need to time your entry then. Okay, so that's that. Glenmark. Now Glenmark again, like I said, this would have been a day to enter. I also talked this on HPA. And yeah, so not a swing setup, but for positional people, this is now the start of the right side of the base. Gudgill, possible bottom of an IPO base. So Lloyd's Engineering, possibly the finishing of the right side of the base. Okay, and the volumes are also great. Not so great this one. I used to like it really because of this earnings pivot, but it sort of shattered all my dreams. Can set up again. All right. Diffusion engineers. This is again picked up from the IPO list. These things could set up. Dixon. What did I tell you? EMS is a lot of EMS players are at a hai himmat zone. So Dixie was at a hai himmat zone here some days ago. See, this is very and then this would have been an entry day. You know, IB के ऊपर entry. I think wait for the for how the general market reacts to the earnings, and then let's say Dixon earnings are great, and then this reacted very positively. That will give you a cue to be ready to take advantage of the other EMS names because Dixon अच्छा किया तो probably the whole sector will do well, and if people liked whatever result Dixon put up, then probably they will also like the other names result, right? So that's how you trade on these. Jikre not so much, but because insurances are doing well now. Just GRP Limited, very small company, BSC wala. I just like the base here. I mean, the base doesn't look so pretty, but it's a very nice flat base. Not flat base, but a rectangular base. And I like the sector, which is a recycling sector. So Vodafone Idea, haha, this is a reversal base breakout. Okay, this is a reversal base. What is the shape of the base? The shape of the base would be an ascending triangle. Yeah, or right uptrend 1T 2T breakout. Now, would I buy this setup? I wouldn't generally because this is like a reversal setup. But this is a good place to buy something technically. Lakshmi Goldorna House. Arihan Superstructures. Big base, super base breakout, big base breakout के बाद first flag. This is always one of the best setup to trade. Okay, one of the most bullish setups out there. Big base breakout के बाद जो पहला flag बनता है, and that flag breakout happened, came back, and then this was the entry day. there is no entry right now. So I should probably take this out. Jindadil is a huge base. Prior uptrend, huge base. Currently, right side of the base. Okay, I will not enter here, but it's very good to have these names in the watch list. Let's see how the results are. Paris defense. Now, Paris defense. A lot of these names are also probably forming a about to form big base reversals and are going to form the right side of the base. Okay, this is not the right side of the base. The right side of the base will form now here. Okay, and I like it, and I like the volumes. Now if you look closely, you can see the volumes. Good volumes here, good volumes here, and it's also forming lower, sorry, higher lows. Okay, these are the things you have to notice in a base. And yeah, traditional entry is above this pivot. uh, but the thing is, when this guy is doing this, you will not be able to enter if you not already do the work, which is looking at it, which is already internalizing what the base is doing beforehand, you know, preparing yourself, convincing yourself this is a good setup, convincing yourself Paras will do well. That is why you do the homework. That is why you put in hours, 2 hours, 3 hours of work going through the list, and not just any list, going through a list which you know that will have the winners. JSW Holdings, 5% name. This was the entry. This was the entry. Anyways, I just there is no entry right now, but I just have this in front of me just to I am just attacking my bias this year, this 5% bias very aggressively. Okay, either we'll see, either he will die or I will die. Kernex Microsystem. This is part of my bias destroying a squad. So I entered here. 5% name I entered here on this day when it presented me a chick. Okay, and yeah, a very strong name, has some tailwinds. So I don't see an entry now. Bunder Electricals, big base. The breakout has happened. Hold on. Let me draw the one horizontal line correctly. Yeah. So that's the line of supply. Okay. Maybe one can draw it like this as well. And the breakout happened on this day. There's a slight shakeout, or and then today. I mean, Friday was again a good follow through. So there still is an entry here, because if one enters very near to the present this one, you will have a 8% kind of a stop loss. So Aeroflex Industries was a episodic pivot, and this quarter I'm also since last quarter I'm also diligently following EPs, especially the earnings related EPs. Right now, I would like to pause here and share something with you guys. Okay, and what I want to share is that, knowledge, having the knowledge of something itself is of no use. uh, what is what is useful is to have a system process to take that knowledge and apply it. That is more useful. Now, the example I want to give you is my own example using EPs. Now, since the time I came to the market, since the time I discovered that there is something called an episodic pivot, which was which was like the moment I discovered people from the trader line and stuff, like then I knew that, oh, there is something called EPs, Pradeep Bonde, Kulamagi, a lot of these things. And I also got examples in the Indian stock market where where stocks moved, gapped up and moved after earnings. But I never could successfully use EPs in my own trading. The question is then why? What was the bottleneck? What was stopping me? Because I already knew that EPs would work. EPs is a setup which works well. It also works well in India. Not having the knowledge was not the problem. What was I lacking? I was lacking a system. Okay, I was lacking a system to use that information to convert that in my trading system. Why? Because first of all, I'm not a fundamental guy. I don't know. I don't have a system to track all the results diligently. What changed last year? Last year, this happened. QE Ultra happened in my life. Uh, Ganesh and Nitin et al. Developed this. See, in general, पहले तो ये this TradingView people also have this earnings, but that is not reliable. 50% of the dates are bullshit. Okay, so that's not a reliable system. So you cannot have something which has inherent like 50-60% variability and make it a system. That just will not work. So what happened last year was QE Ultra happened. Now because of QE Ultra, I know when is a result. Like for example, hold on, I'll just sidetrack here a little bit. Earnings pivot, right? So I know that TCS on this day, this gap up was a gap on earnings, because on that day a a line was like this, a purple line was there, which I know that that was an earnings line, right? So now I have a system uh, which has a very high fidelity, which gives me a very high fidelity so that I can trust it. MBA PL, when this happened, I knew that that was a earnings. HDFC Life, when this gapped up, I knew it was an earnings gap up. है ना? Aeroflex, although it did not come somehow on that day, but this guy told me that it's an earnings gap up. LTTS, I knew this was an earnings gap up. Ganesh Housing, I knew this was an earnings gap up. Okay, so this having not having the knowledge is not a problem. If not, if just having the knowledge would have been the life solver of everything. Knowledge is there everywhere now. Like YouTube, it's free. It's having a system with a high fidelity, which now turns your system one things to a system two level things, right? Or maybe I said that the other way, but like making things like brushing a teeth, that's what's required, you know. Okay, anyway, so let's get back here. Okay, so Aeroflex was an earnings gap, earnings pivot on this day, and so there are three ways to trade earnings gap. Trigger one was there, trigger two was there when the earnings day high, gap day high got triggered, and the third entry would be if this guy comes back, pulls back somewhere here. That would be the third entry. So currently there is no entry here. Bajaj Healthcare was an entry on this day, was an entry on this day, and I am currently invested here. I'm currently trading this name. Um, yeah, so Bajaj Healthcare is also a really great setup. Like really, when I say really great, it's a really great setup. This is a epic base. Like you cannot have a cleaner base than this. You just cannot. Like इससे बढ़िया बेस निकाल के दिखाओ, मान जाएंगे टाइप्स, है ना? So this was a really good base. Early entry was somewhere here when this pivot got taken out, and then this was the breakout, came back, had that candle, the only two candle, like I said today, demand candle, which is basically having a lower wick, and then some tightening IBs. This was an IB. This was a failed IB, but again the next day was also an entry. And then on this day, there was a small gap up which I identified because it was in the red list. And the moment it formed an intraday flag, I attacked. Hold on, I'll show you. This after this gap, this this flag happened and I attacked on this bar, and I probably entered somewhere here, two entries. And yeah, all of these all of these I also share my whole process, whatever I do in HPA. So all of these are real time there. GMR Pui Pui, again, this is not a swing setup. This is possibly a positional setup. I entered here because I believe the right side of the base is now starting to build. We have a higher high, higher low, and also it comes from a group which has tailwinds. Okay, and that's something which I learned this last 2 years. Attack anything which has a tailwind. गंदा गंदा सेटअप भी चल जाता है. Apollo Microsystems, again tailwinds. There are one bigger tailwind which is anything which has electric, electronic, electricals. All has some sort of tailwinds, right? The other one is it's also from defense. So if defense is again gonna go up, these guys will go up for sure. I entered here on this day. But currently there is not a clear cut setup, or I believe Inox Green. Now this could turn out to be a stage 3 breakdown, but if not, I mean this was it was yesterday because of these two inside bars, and the entry would have been if this two inside bar were broken out on the upside. Did not happen. This could again set up, right? Equinox India Development Limited. I don't know what this does, but it's a big base. Okay. Um, it's a huge base, and this is the right side of the huge base. If you look standalone like this, and this is slightly choppy. I give that. Uh, but this was an entry day because there was three tight days, one inside bar here. Okay, and I think there's also some sort of fundamental trigger here, which I'm not aware, but it looks like Prycall again. This auto OEM, a lot of OEMs are setting up. Okay, when I say a lot, like let's say in terms of percentage, if there is 100 OEMs, not 50, but why I'm saying a lot is that in the top 100 200 list, a lot of names are from OEM space. Okay, and so if you see this was a big base breakout, and then now coming and taking support uh, to the previous highs here. So C2C Advanced Systems. Again, I don't know what kind of liquidity my MCAP is this, but this is again a very nice base. One could say a flat base, and it's at the lower end of the flat base. So let's say there is someone who likes nibbling at a stock and making like building up a position. So if there is someone like that, this is a good place to maybe start nibbling. Yeah, again, if you notice, I'm not discussing just one kind of setup. I'm just discussing multiple type of setups in stocks which are strong. Okay, Panacea Biotech, again a small MCAP, but there is a setup here above this. All right, Monarch. Monarch is again a very big base, prior uptrend, T1, T2. This is T3. Now, traditional entries are always above this correctly drawn one horizontal line. There are some non traditional entries which is basically buying from the support. Okay, Zinca Logistic yesterday was a entry. Now we still don't know we have the base of the base, but hopefully we have. But in general, because this there is the depth, the base is deeper, in general it doesn't go one way up. In general the prices will do whoop whoop whoop, something like this. This would look like a ascending triangle, or even might might do a double bottom kind of a base. So yeah, a lot of possibilities are there. Whatever possibility might be, but this was a valid entry, valid low risk entry. Okay. Zegel Preppa. I am very interested here. Partly because again I don't know anything about the company. First, I suck at fundamentals, but I've read a lot of good things about the company. Okay, and that's why I'm keen to add now the fundamental, not fundamental. The whenever this breaks out, that is the traditional kind of entry. But as I've said already multiple times, there are non-traditional ways of entering. Um, two two things you have to see: demand candle and inside bars. Stovecraft, amazing base. Okay, very nice base. Some will call it inverse head and shoulders, which is fine. I will not disagree with that. Um, like I said again, conventional traditional entry would be above the one horizontal line, which is this. है ना? This is the correct one horizontal line because the supply is actually horizontal. Um, so above this is the traditional entry. There are non-traditional entries. The non-traditional entry was this this day IB breakout with volume. है ना? So if you're someone who builds a position, this would be a good place to build a position. And then when this guy actually breaks out, that would be a second time to add. And if that happens, then your your stop loss suddenly is not minus 16%. It's manageable. And you also have a bigger size. है ना? That's what progressive exposure is. Deep Industries is forming a good base. Yeah. So that base is this. Now what I see is already a lower, higher low in the base. So this is a good base to watch. Like I said again, I'll say I'll repeat. I don't have a problem with repeating concepts. Traditional entry is above this. Non-traditional entry was here. Okay. Lincoln Pharma. Lincoln Pharma. Okay. There is an entry above this bar, right? Again, mind the liquidity. These small MCAP names are not for everyone. People who have bigger accounts might not be able to trade these successfully. So that's why your system should choose the stocks which you are comfortable, which your account is comfortable. Uh, it doesn't mean that these setups are not tradable. It means that you are not looking at the right setups, right? ITI. Now this is the mother of Hai Himmat. Okay. Um, great setups. Great setup here. Great setup here. Amazing setup here. Amazing setup here. And now it is again coming back to the previous support from where this huge bounce has come. Okay. Now herein lies the question. Hai Himmat. है ना? So I think above this IB it's again tradable for sure. And that's the thing, like if let's say a bounce like this comes, है ना? Let's say this was an overextension and the actual resistance is this. So let's say if this guy goes till here, mota for example, then you have sort of a, let's say 30%, है ना? 30% reward with as opposed to 7% risk. So then you ask the question: is this a bet worth taking? That's the only question you have to ask. Many people ask the wrong question. क्या ये setup चलेगा? By that's not a correct question to ask. Nobody knows, right? Think in terms of probabilities. Gokal Das Exports, two IBs, very sweet, very cute, looks great. Some people will call it weak setup. Whatever, name doesn't matter. You just have to find strength and find low risk. Low risk entries on strong stocks. That is the philosophy. Sciences system uh, is a good base formation. It's a ascending base. I mean, this is a क्या बोलते हैं इसको? Um, there's a channel with a slight slope, ascending slope, and whenever it hits the lower end of the channel, that can be a place to nibble. Okay. 10:56. We have 4 minutes. Greaves cotton again. OE. I think this is OEM. No, this is truck. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Very nice base breakout. Clear, clear strength. Gaps are clear strength. Went up, came back, retested that level, shot up, came back again. Now retesting the level. Um, so this is a very strong support level. Okay. Dynamic cables was looking good till yesterday. It never triggered. So that's the other mistake some people do. Like, oh, just because there's a setup, even without the setup triggering, they will enter. And uh, and if that setup fails, because it never triggered, they will still be holding it. So don't do that. Windsor machine. This is part of the group of tackling the bias. I haven't entered it yet, but if this guy gives me a chance, I will enter. I will sell whatever I have and I will enter. I will make sure I have some time for this. Okay. Like I said, uh, been very aggressive in trying to tackle that bias. EEIEL. IPO setup. There was a entry above this IB yesterday, never triggered. Hopefully, we'll build a bigger base here. Lloyd's Metals, very strong name, like extra strong. So many blue bars with prices increasing. This was the big base breakout. This was the big base breakout. Prior uptrend, big base, gap, IB. This was the entry, a non-conventional entry, conventional entry. Both worked, went up, and now again is setting up another base. T1, T2. This is perhaps T3. Um, yeah, that is a conventional entry now again. Now many a times what happens is that it gives you a feeling कि ये अभी breakout करेगा. Then what happens is something called a base reset is what Minervini calls. Comes back and forms another low, and this is like a shakeout, and then again this guy sets up. I don't know which one's gonna happen. We never know, so we will have to act real time. Hold on. Intellect design. Okay, intellect design is also a very big base, and prior uptrend with volumes. Now, why this guy is very interesting, because this is HVE, highest volume ever. Highest volume ever inside a base which looks like a stage 2 continuation base is always a good thing. And so once this guy gives you a PBC setup, uh, I think I think this there is something here for sure. Centrum Electronics. Again, I'm keeping these names in the watch list because of the name Electronics. I would love to know more about the companies going forward. Be more diligent in fundamental investing, and I will join some fundamental people also. Currently not there, so but nonetheless, this is a setup. All right, HDFC Life. Like I said, this is earnings pivot. There's a setup there. E-Park Durables. There is a setup here. Uh, SRF. Now SRF is a very interesting setup. This is a big base, like Do you remember me going gaga over uh, Bajaj Healthcare? This is similar in terms of level. Amazing base, like, and the same thing, like I said, like the kind of return this base can give is will be like, अरे ये चूतियापा कर रहा है, right? That's the kind of return it can give. But when it is happening, it's very difficult to visualize that. And the same thing happened with me when I was looking at the big base breakouts in PSUs, big base breakouts in REC, PFC, and similar thing can happen in SRF as well. Now, where's the technical setup? Of course, that big base breakout here would be the technical one, but उससे पहले भी there are a lot of technical setups. This huge gap up, this was a gap day entry. ठीक है, नहीं हुआ, came back, very four tight candles came back and retested that gap lower upper boundary and then broke out. This was an entry, है ना? So so more entries will possibly come up, and yeah, I hold this, not in my swing PF, not in my positional PF. I hold this in my long term PF, and I entered here because that's a good place to enter. There's the non-conventional entry which I was talking about here. Okay, there's a hai himmat zone entry. Anyways, Solzer, really good one. um, Electrical, anything electrical I am interested currently. Prior uptrend, T1, T2, this was an entry. Currently again forming an IB. Above this would be an entry. Infa, really nice base. Big base ka breakout, and then it came back, retested that, and now is forming 1T, 2T, this is 3rd T. Really good. CRM Silk. Yeah, this is the base of the base, and this was a failed breakout. The breakout failed at the end of the day, but I'm hopeful because the quality of the base is really good. Now, when I say quality, you see the prior uptrend has two HVEs. Um, uh, Although these guys are not all of them are buying volumes, but if you see the volumes which started the up move were also really good, crisp. There is a orderliness related to this. There is a orderliness in the pullback. The volume, what is the word, volume contraction is also very orderly, and blue blue bars started to come up. So worst case scenario, I think there could be a pullback and then we'll form a higher low, but I really like the setup overall. So I bought this on the breakout. Again, hindsight, I immediately uh, thought that this was not a very good entry to be made, especially in the environment like we have right now. The better entry would have been somewhere here when we had this candle, and then yeah, but at that moment when this happened, I took it, and yeah, there could still be an entry here. KRN, I'll take the question in a minute. Okay, I think I'm almost there. KRN is also a good setup. I entered here, this IB breakout yesterday. See, Shivalik, I couldn't enter because my cash got with 927. 927.28. I entered CRM Silk. 941 ish Shivalik triggered, and yeah, I that's how it is. That's the margins here. But Shivalik was a great name. I was talking Shivalik like nothing. I actually had an entry somewhere here, which failed. Yeah, but this was a great entry yesterday. Uh, a technical entry for whoever made it. I could not. Uh, yeah, this we are at the end of the list, and I will take questions. I don't have much time. Sorry, I should have had.
Rush.
Yes, Anil.
The intellect, you are saying some stage two, within stage two base. What is the stage two base? I am not able to get there.
So see, the thing is like this, right? So I'll just draw this. So what happens is let's say you know stage 1, stage 2, है ना? So let's say this was a stage 1 base,
Yeah, yeah.
and after doing whatever, then stock is came in stage 2. Okay. In general, what happens then is that we have distribution. Distribution base will be slightly wider, whatever, and then we will eventually break down and have stage 4, and then we'll again have stage 1 somewhere here, let's say, right? Many stocks, they actually don't follow this. What they do is, they, after this stage 3, like, or after this big base, after a stage 2, rather than going this stage 4 path, they again there is accumulation again at the later stages, and then they break out. Okay. So then, if this is the case, hold on. So then, if this happens, this big base is called a stage 2 accumulation base, because it in the context of the whole thing, this is still a stage 2 continuation of this stage 2 uptrend. Okay, so that's why this base is, technical terms, is called stage 2 continuation base. And intellect to me looks like, let's say this was the stage 1, small stage 1 base, stage 1 uptrend, stage 3 stage, small stage 4, stage 1 small base, and then there was a big stage 2 uptrend, and then we are having a basing period right now. uh, so if this is a stage 3 base, then we will have a breakdown, right? uh, I think that this base will continue towards the upside, and that's why I was calling it a stage 2 continuation base. Anil, is that clear?
Okay. How can we say it, be sure that it will break out? Anything to be looked at?
Yeah, so I feel that now in the left side of this base there is huge volumes incoming, right? So if this was a distribution base, I don't think these huge volumes would have come. Okay, so I think
Okay,
that
okay.
now reaccumulation is starting to happen, and this was like a big leg of reaccumulation, uh, like huge volumes here. um, yeah, so that is my why I'm thinking that. Now it could also break down, but yeah, that's my, I have bias that this will go towards the upside.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, folks. uh, that's the end of the session. And yes, sub fine, Dhani, IB, same promoters, your day
Good
still
morning,
great.
Prakash.
Hi Radhaji, good morning.
Good morning. Can you check Angel one once?
Angel one. Angelino, ayo. So Angel one, this is a big base, है ना? Uh, this whole thing is a big base, and I think it is at a strong support right now. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's at a strong support, and this candle is what we call, technically, what we call a stop volume.
Stop volumes.
Yes. So higher volume के साथ previous uptrend को stop कर दिया. And then my understanding is that
ये
we,
इसको क्या बोलते हैं? प्रीवियस अप ट्रेंड को स्टॉप कर दिया
सॉरी
या
सॉरी
अब और
प्रीवियस
फर्दर
डाउन
डाउन नहीं
ट्रेंड,
जाएगा
हाँ हाँ
ऊपर से?
हाँ, सो प्रीवियस
डाउन
डाउन
ट्रेंड को
ट्रेंड
कर
को
दिया
स्टॉप
ना?
कर दिया ना, तो इसने विद वॉल्यूम,
हम्म,
तो इसलिए इस कैंडल को स्टॉप
हम्म,
वॉल्यूम बोलते हैं. एंड ये सेम कैंडल
हम्म.
आप दूसरे दिशा में भी मिलते हैं आपको, लाइक ये वाला
हाँ,
कैंडल,
मिलते हैं. हाँ,
ये दिस वाज अ स्टॉप
हाँ.
वॉल्यूम विच स्टॉप द
तो
प्रायर
अप
अप
ट्रेंड
ट्रेंड
को डाउन
विद ए
कर
हाई
देता है. हाँ.
वॉल्यूम, है ना? तो हाँ,
हम्म,
ये वाला भी सॉर्ट ऑफ स्टॉप वॉल्यूम था. तो मेरे को लगता है कि यहाँ पे अभी एक साइडवेज बेस बना सकता है, एंड देन ये बेस, इसका रिवर्सल आएगा. ऑल्दो बिकॉज अ लॉट ऑफ देयर देयर अर्निंग्स वुड बी लेस बिकॉज ऑफ दी, ये जो ऑप्शन में पाबंदी लगा दी है, बट आई
हम्म,
स्टिल थिंक ये बेस ब्रेकआउट ही करेगा ऊपर की ओर. हाँ. तो द
हम्म.
थिंग इज, अगर कोई ये, हाँ, तो इफ देर इज समवन हु इज ऑलरेडी होल्डिंग दिस, दैट वुड बी अ लॉन्ग टर्म प्लेयर. तो शॉर्ट टर्म पीपल के लिए तो इस ब्रेकडाउन के बाद नहीं होल्ड करना है ये. So yeah, तो अभी इसमें आ सकता है.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Uh, Look for Kiri. One risk with is high valuation average. Yes, yes, Anil ji. Anil, I again like I find it very funny if I talk anything about one fundamental valuations and all. But yeah, I agree. Like high valuation guys will be punished uh, with not so great result. CRM silk is in momentum. It is. What is the blue line in JSW chart? Which indicator? Hold on. JSW chart. Blue line is the is AVWAP. Okay, so AVWAP, one way to use AVWAP is if the AVWAP is been acting as a resistance, so the moment that resistance breaks out, that's a valid entry signal. Okay, so I'll give you some examples here. Nifty में, okay, so Nifty, hold on, क्या हो रहा है? 50 नहीं, daily में चाहिए. So for example, यहाँ पे अगर आप देखिए तो यहाँ से मैं अगर एक if I put a, I mean, this is not a very good example because in here the AVWAP is not being acting as resistance very nicely. But if I plug it here, what's happened is every time the price came and hit the AVWAP, it got slapped, slapped, and here was a clear breakout. So AVWAPs can be used as uh, resistances as well as support. तो support का example तो आपको पता ही है. Currently Nifty is finding a support here, which AVWAP plugged at the low of the October 2023. एक बार support इधर आया and then this is a second support. So AVWAPs can be used like this. In general, AVWAPs are used on all time frames. Very recently, for example, Bajaj Healthcare. I used Bajaj Healthcare intraday time frame to trade this. So if you plug the AVWAP on the open, you will see that a strong stock will always come and get supported here on the AVWAP. Okay, so the other way you can use AVWAP for entry is you pin it on the high, and the moment it sort of gives you a good break above that, that is an entry. So these are very useful indicators. What did you? Yo, why did I skip Jain irrigation? I think Jain irrigation. Hold on. Jain irrigation will be in the weekly watch list. It's a long base. It's a long base, big base. I mean, I haven't skipped it. Uh, but I like it more from the view of a positional trade. So yeah, it's there. It's there. I remember all the charts, how it looks, because I go through them almost every day. But the red list was already so long, so I had to skip out some. Uh, how to trade EPs? This is a big this one, so maybe I'll talk more about this. Ankit, camera चालू है आपका? हाँ अंकित जी, बंद कर दीजिए कैमरा. Thank you Amit for joining. Jen Irrigation, thanks for the session. When are you having live? This is the live session actually. View on long base. Yes, sort of. It's a very long base. It's a valid big base setup. Don't miss it now that you are following it. Uh, Particular day, if many entries get triggered back to back, how do you manage? First come, first serve. Only pick the best names. Only so all of your setup should have equal conviction, and thereby whichever triggers pehle, that is the way to go. and it will not work every day, because sometimes what happens, the पहले जो trigger किया वो नहीं चलेगा, बाद में जो trigger किया वो चलेगा, but over a longer period of time all of them will be fine. Okay, and that's why if you have the system की first come first serve, then that will be a system. Then what will have is वो अरे कौन सा लेना है कौन सा नहीं लेना है, it will bypass all of those questions and your decision making will be faster. Okay, so first come first serve. How do you prioritize setups if multiple entry gets triggered? First come first serve. All of my setups are of equal priority, and and the sessions today, like for example, all of this upper names, uh, like for me right now, 5% names are high priority. Now many of you will not like that, plus not agree with me, which is fine. But yeah, I that's the trick, is to only have setups which are of equal priority. So then you don't have that question कि किसको अच्छे से पहले जाना है. if you have a if you have a way to prioritize the setup, then you just put the best setup on top, which is also I try to do, like Shivalik Sia Silk were on the top of my list, which I also sent in the group 2 days ago. um, Sir, what period SRRS do you have? So first of all, Priyanka, no sir, please. Okay. I like 50 and 20 day, because that is the best suited for me as a swing trader and a positional trader. How many would you ideally keep in your actionable day? Now, as trading is very personal, this question needs a personal view. The thing is, some people are okay handling 4 names, some people are okay handling 10 names. This question is for you to ask yourself. Uh, Ask yourself in the third person mode. Bole to Rishabh Jain, how many names can you track on a day without getting flustered? Whatever the name is, you already know the number for yourself. Trust me, you already know that, and that is the number of setups you keep. And if and then what you do is you make sure that if there is an entry in there, you don't miss it. You forget what other names are doing, which is not in your watch list. For me, I can handle 4 to 10. On a best day, I can handle 10 different names here and there, like, I don't have any other things in my head. Worst day, I can do 4. Yeah, and out of the 4 also, like, if I feel there is something really good, then that would be my number one priority, right? So but the answer to the question is very 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 personal. Some people cannot have more than 2. So would you then tell him that, hey bro, like 5 is ideal, huh? भाई को नहीं जमता तो नहीं जमता types. So always remember this: whoever you learn trading for, whoever you are following, that system is personal to that guy. So don't try to match that. Okay, a lot of people, a lot of new traders do this mistake. अरे अरे ये ब्रो ऐसा करता है, मैं भी ऐसा करेगा. ब्रो आपको जमना चाहिए, वो पहली बात. Okay, guys, I will stop right here. uh, if you guys have any other questions, please come and join the broket group. You can also come and uh, text me. I generally reply to everyone over WhatsApp, Twitter, whatever. Okay. Now, lastly, I just want to tell you one thing, that about FOMO है ना. Markets currently is not in a great condition, so do not overtrade. If your risk management is not so great, if you succumb to over trading, revenge trading right now is not a good time. Okay, so the the problem why people come and overtrade is because of the fear that they will miss out a good move. Bhai, if you miss out first day, second day, it's nothing in the grand scheme of things. If an up move has to last 100 days, if you miss 2 days, what's the big deal? Okay. Now the other thing is that many traders don't have the belief that they will be able to spot the start of the good trend. I will tell you there are very simple ways to spot a good trends. Moving average will slope up. The breadth indicators, the breadth indicators put will go up. Okay, so when the strength is going to come in the market, it will be clear for everyone to see. You don't have to do any over analysis like I do. You don't. So wait for that clear cut signal, and don't overtrade, please. Okay. Lastly, if you are a trader, use stop loss. Now I will do a session to show how using stop loss is better in these kind of conditions if you are a trader. Okay, again, like a lot of people may not agree with me, and that is why trading is also personal. So okay, I'll stop here. I'm already in the zone of gibberish blabber right now, so I'll stop here. And thanks for joining, everyone. I hope you guys have a good Sunday. GGMU, and see you soon. Bye bye.